2 nights getting properly on a CPAP and the headaches are gone. It was
Wow.
just completely obvious. And how could 6 medical specialties miss this?
That moment actually captures something much bigger than just sleep apnea. Beverly has been navigating her health since the 1970s. From chronic viral issues to immune dysfunction to breathing, sleep, and diet, often discovering answers and solutions only after the system hit a wall. This conversation is about what it looks like to think clearly, research well, and take responsibility for your own health without falling into fear, extremes, or magical thinking. We talk about sleep apnea, yes, but also about chronic viruses, immune blind spots, ancestral diets, supplements, and how to evaluate health information without getting overwhelmed. Welcome to the Green Living Now podcast. This podcast is for women who think for themselves, who want real, practical ways to protect their health in a world full of industrial food systems and products and corporate greenwashing. Informed choice and listening to what your body and your life are already telling you. Beverly, welcome to the Green Living Now podcast.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks for having me here today.
Absolutely. I think you have some really interesting topics that my audience is going to be very curious about. So if you would just start off by giving a sense of who you are and how you came to be doing the work that you do.
I am in my 70s and I've been working on my health since the 1970s. So I discovered early on that the medical system was not always the place to go for me.
Yeah.
And so I just dove in and began researching and finding things out back in the 70s. And I've never looked back. So I'm very proactive in getting my clients to pick a few good sites and research from them. Just don't go all over the place. So that's what's my passion, helping myself and then sharing that knowledge.
That's the way I've done it too. And so when you say good sites, what do you feel qualifies as a good site?
My site for sure on dietandhealth.com.
Okay.
And then when I go to look something up, the first place I go to is Chris Kresser, and that's Chris with a C, Kresser with a K. Chris Kresser, he's an acupuncturist by license, but he's very smart. He has a lot of podcasts. He has guests from every book you can imagine and all over the world, plus his own research. He's very smart. You can go to his site and look up almost anything.
Wonderful. So you started in the 70s, you said. What was it that prompted you to get started?
I was one of those people back in the early days that contracted the herpes virus. And I was at Duke University and I went to the Duke Medical Center. They were no help. There's still not much help today in general about the herpes virus, but back then everybody was very ignorant about it. It was pretty new. And a friend of mine said, this is a little different, but there's a guy that lives about an hour from here in a house out in the woods and so on. And he does a type of muscle response testing. And they told me what that was, which I now have been studying for 45 years. So I'm an expert muscle tester. I love that. But that's how I went to see him. And in half an hour, let's put you on this and let's put you on this. And I was just stunned that here's this person in a little house, nice house, but a little house out in the woods. And he was able to help me.
Wow. They're natural.
Yes.
Natural remedies to put you on?
Yeah, definitely. And when I went back to him sometime later, he said, where he's testing me, he said, you've been in that greenhouse spraying pesticides again, haven't you? I was like, oh my gosh, how can you tell? He said, that's what we do when we muscle test. And that so intrigued me. That just opened my mind to the whole possibility that there are other ways to get and use information in addition to the true medical system. That's why my podcast is called Primal Diet, Modern Health. And as I say in my intro, let's eat the way our human bodies evolved to eat. And when you need help, let's get the best of all modern healthcare. So it's both.
So for those that are not familiar with the primal diet, how would you define that?
It's basically paleo, primal, ancestral, biological gaps, specific carbohydrate diet. There's 6 or 7 diets that are all similar in a lot of ways. But the number one thing we all agree on, and it's the number one thing, is that humans did not evolve to eat grains. We don't
Just
bend
like cows
over.
didn't
Yeah,
either.
yeah, cows eat grass and grains. That's what grains are. They're the
But
seeds of
they're,
grass.
except for their cow bodies, just because my husband was a dairy farmer when he was younger, cow bodies actually get very inflamed on grains. I think
Well,
it's
I
one
mean,
thing
they
to eat them in the grass hay setting, but
right. But they do
processed
get fed
grains.
corn and soy, and which
I
are
know.
so that's no good. But animals, horses or deer, they nose their way along looking for tasty things on the ground.
Yeah.
And humans don't hunt for food on the ground. We look for things that are flying, crawling, swimming,
Right.
running, and those are animal prey. So that's the first rule of all of us in paleo, primal, ancestral, biological. My own diet for human beings, that's my DVD, the diet for human beings, but they're all basically the same as far as that goes. Let's get out the grains, cut so much carbs,
Yep.
get lots more fats, good proteins, lots of
Yep.
vegetables.
Yep. And so
That's
that's a little like keto too.
no, thank you.
No?
That's a good question. Keto focuses on, yes, what I just said, and let's make the majority of your diet come from fat. And
Okay.
to me, that is not a natural thing.
Right.
So keto is like 75 to 80% of your diet from fat. And
Gosh.
that is just not, that's not
Yeah,
normal.
no, I guess I thought it was more the fat protein and very low carb.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is a lot of
remember it being
it
that
is
high fat.
normal amounts of protein, but
Okay.
then the rest is just fat.
Huh.
And to me, that's not a diet for a human being. That's
Okay.
not what we evolved to eat.
Right.
Harvesting fat from animals that we killed is a laborious job, and the
Yeah.
fat was extremely precious, but we certainly couldn't just live on that. We needed hunting and gathering and everything else too.
The omnivore approach versus just selecting specific
Well,
aspects
yeah,
of
except
diet.
for grains and sugars
Right,
and
exactly. Right. Maybe
processed
it's more
foods
like
and
eating the rainbow that includes, at least in my life, it's wild caught fish, it's pasture raised, grass fed, grass finished beef, and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Are you sourcing those kinds of foods also? What's a
Well,
typical?
yeah, absolutely. So I'm in Texas. We have excellent
Oh,
ranchers here, but I also procure pastured poultry, chicken and turkey,
yes.
goat and lamb and bison and elk and beef and heritage pork. They're excellent websites like US Wellness Meats and other sites that
Hmm.
supply. That's a huge website, US Wellness
I
Meats. I
don't think
mean,
I've heard that one. I'll have to check it out.
it'll take you days to get through it. You go everywhere. So I tell people, my clients, I say, look, just open a cart, put 6 pounds of ground beef hamburger in there, and then just start working and looking
Wow.
the fats and the pet foods and the bones and the different cuts
Yeah.
and then move on to the next animal.
So they
And
have information about pet food on there too?
they sell pet food too. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I've been
Because
making mine from scratch.
ooh, yeah.
A
And
lot of
but
work.
with cats, for example, cats are just pure carnivores. But when they eat an animal, a bird or a lizard, they're eating bones and organs. So you
Yes,
can't just give them the ground meat. They're thrilled to have ground meat, but
sure.
they need the bones and the organs and the feathers and all the
Yeah.
other odds and ends that they eat. My cats, they'll spit out the feet. And I'm always shocked when I'm like, I don't see a beak here. I'm not thrilled that you're eating a bird, but if you're going to eat a
Ooh,
bird, where did that beak go?
good question. Oh my
But
goodness.
they're omnivores and to each our own.
Yes, indeed. Wow. Okay, so you got healed from the herpes virus.
Actually, good point, but no. So,
No, not
no,
healed.
that's part of then flash forward 55 whatever years.
Yep.
So this is part of why I'm most known and famous for my work with the herpes virus,
Oh.
because I struggled with it badly and also
Hmm.
struggled with many other viruses like Epstein-Barr and shingles and
Oh my goodness.
cytomegalovirus. So I struggled with viruses my whole life, chickenpox as an adult, all these kinds of
Wow.
things. I became a real expert at how to control the herpes and Epstein-Barr and shingles and
Yeah.
cytomegalo. They're all feed on arginine. So I became very expert at how to
Oh.
control my diets to control viruses. But they would never perfectly go away. I didn't take medication, herbs, but not the
Right,
medicines.
not
And then
pharmaceuticals.
finally, 8 some years ago, I had another round of serious health issues and almost died.
Yikes.
And
Oh, gee.
that's when I couldn't work. I stayed home for 6 months just researching. I couldn't drive, couldn't do anything. And that's when I found a genetic immune flaw that I have.
Oh,
And I
wow.
figured out the medication that I needed and so on, and then went to the immunologist with all the labs and all the blood work and everything and said, here, I have this and this is what I need. And of course, they ran their tests and they said, wow, you're right.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh. So how
Let's,
did you know that genetic issue was there?
because I'm such a good health researcher. I'm
So you just
smart
did
and I
research and
research.
then
Yeah.
did you muscle test for it or did you do some
No,
other type
no,
of
no,
testing?
no, just researching, a
So it just rang a
passionate
bell for
research.
you.
Yeah, 6
Okay.
months of research, working, trying to chase what was going on with my body and why the 5 different doctors I'd seen all basically said, we have no idea.
Often.
I chased trails of things that just kept chasing the rabbits down the holes
Yes.
and finally it's, oh my goodness, it's right there in front of me.
Oh, wow.
It's this, and
Oh,
what are the appropriate medications to be on. So once I figured it out, my whole life changed. I was like,
wow.
wow, I have a whole new
So,
life in my 60s. I'm young
so,
again.
oh my gosh. So all the viruses stopped causing problems?
Yes, I still have to follow the very specific form of diet that
Okay.
controls the herpes virus.
Mm.
75% of it is what you eat, and the rest is lifestyle and supplements
Mm.
and things like keeping up on your vitamin D and so on.
Yeah.
Probably the majority of my clients the last 6 years, half of them have come because they found me looking for herpes support. And I was the
Hmm.
only person they found that sounded like a real person and not a scam website.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know when I was looking at your profile, you talked about sleep apnea. How does that fit into all of this?
This is now my new passion, is changing the world one snorer or one bad breather at a time. And so about 10 years ago, I began having very bad headaches during the night. Bad headaches during the night,
Yikes.
lying down. And so that was another thing. I chased and researched 6 different medical specialties and neurologists and brain tumors or pain doctors or fibromyalgia or
Right.
migraines or orthodontists or Rolfers or osteopath.
Wow.
10 years I've been working on this.
Yeah.
And about 4 months ago, I asked my primary, I said, let's run a sleep test. I want to check my blood pressure at night. And she said, sure. She
Oh,
ordered a sleep test and I flunked. So
oh,
it was like,
wow.
oh my gosh. And then as I began to research, headaches at night are in the top 6 or 7 symptoms of sleep apnea. And in the
Oh, I never heard
process
of that.
now that I've spent night and day the last 3 months researching joyfully the whole topic of sleep apnea, because 2 nights getting properly on a CPAP and the
Yeah.
headaches are gone. It was
Wow.
just completely obvious. And how could 6 medical specialties miss this?
Can I just stop for one quick
Please, yeah,
question? So the headaches were caused because of a lack of oxygenation in the
correct.
system? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so let me define sleep apnea.
Yes, that'd be
So,
great.
Amy, if I ask you, make a mental picture of someone you think might probably have sleep apnea. Who
Oh,
would
I can
who's
picture
the
two
first thing
people.
that comes to your mind? And not a
Oh,
person
oh,
person,
okay.
but a
Not a
generic
specific
version.
person. Okay.
Who do you see as, oh, that person probably has sleep apnea? Who do you
Well,
see?
snoring for sure, sleeping with their mouth open, not feeling rested in the morning, maybe sometimes actually headaches in the morning.
Male or
I've not really
female?
heard about the ones overnight before, but that seems
Male or
related.
female? Who do
Oh,
you see?
male in this case.
Definitely male.
Oh, so that's the
Hold
predominance
on.
is male.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. And overweight, underweight, or average weight? The
Generally
generic.
overweight.
Yes. So when people say, oh, sleep apnea, I'm not an overweight
Mm,
male with a big, thick neck. And so this is unfortunately where the medical community is stuck. That
mm,
if you're a male who snores, who's overweight and with a thick neck, maybe you have sleep apnea, but
mm.
nobody else probably does. So of course, right off the bat, that rules out women. It rules out slender people.
Yeah.
It rules out people who don't snore, which was for example, me, because I've been taping my mouth for
Oh,
15 years.
wow.
So I don't snore, I tape my mouth.
Wow.
And this is a product that I recommend. I'm not aligned with it in any way, but I
Okay.
recommend Somnifix. Somnifix,
How do you spell that?
like insomnia. So Somnifix. Let's
Okay.
fix this. And there are
Okay.
many imitators on Amazon for it. I've
Okay.
bought most of them and they all went in the trash. So I stick with the
Okay.
original. I've been, like I say, 15 years I've been
So
using
that's
it.
the tape for the mouth.
That's a very gentle, easy to remove,
Ah,
no problemo, just
good.
perfect mouth tape. So I don't snore.
Okay.
And I don't have a bed partner. So I don't have someone watching me gasp for breath or
Yeah.
doing things that might tip somebody off. So sleep apnea is two things. One, your tongue, when you tilt your head back at night, when you're on a
Hmm.
pillow, your head is back. Your tongue and the larynx and all these tissues in here tend to sag. And for most of us, we don't have big, wide jaws like we
Mm.
evolved to have. We've had teeth
Right.
pulled and so on. So our mouths and jaws are rather narrow and often, like mine, rather pointed.
Oh.
Basically, then our tongues are a little bit too big for our mouths.
Oh.
And as we age, the collagen gets weaker. So that's why it's more common as you age.
Okay.
Anyway, when you lay down, this kind of sags down and shuts off your airway.
Oh.
So that is apnea when you're having no air. And then there's hypopnea, which is low air, meaning
Oh.
you're not breathing very well.
Yeah.
It's a small breath and you're not fully oxygenating and your oxygen levels are dropping. So you're not obstructed completely,
Okay.
but for whatever reason, maybe you tilt your head down like that, it's cutting off some of your air, or for whatever reason, you're just not breathing properly. So
Right.
that's low oxygen from that. And there is a third type, which is a medical apnea, where your brain doesn't tell your body, hello, breathe, please.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's a whole other story. That's not
Okay.
sleep apnea. That's a brain issue, if you will.
So if somebody sleeps with their mouth open,
They need to tape it.
and so what is that doing for them that helps?
First thing, it stops the snoring, which
Right.
is going to
Which is
keep,
waking them up.
maybe
Maybe,
not.
maybe not. Okay.
But that's the problem with sleep apnea, is that it can be completely invisible. Like
Oh,
for myself with the taping the mouth, I didn't know that I wasn't breathing
yeah.
15 times an hour.
And so having your
Think about
mouth
that.
didn't make that worse?
No, you
Okay.
breathe through your nose. And in,
Ideally.
and in fact, one of the principles of, I have a couple podcasts with Patrick McEwen of Buteyko Breathing and
Okay.
training with him and so on, that yes, nose is for breathing, mouth is for eating.
Oh,
And,
interesting.
that we should try to always inhale through our nose. And obviously, we don't eat with our nose, so we shouldn't breathe with our mouth. But anyway,
Yes.
it changes your blood gases. I could go on to that for an
Okay.
hour, and where your oxygen hits the back of your throat. Instead of when you breathe through your nose, you have warm, humid air
Mm,
that lands on a place higher up in the back of the sinus.
yep.
It's different than where you
Right.
breathe air, which hits the back of your throat
Got
and
it.
it dries out your mouth and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
yes, taping them out. Everybody personally should tape their mouth. I think
Okay.
everybody should. Yeah, you can train kids. You just get used to it in the
Wow.
daytime, and obviously have a cold or pneumonia or something, you can't do that. So that's taping, but
Okay.
it stops the
Yes.
snoring, but it may not have any effect on the fact that the tissues in the tongue are obstructing your airway. So it's all
Mhm.
about the airway, which is pretty thin. It's finger or less, a little skinny pencil less airway that goes
Hmm.
down from your nose into your lungs. And so that's why I say in some people like myself, I can actually cut my airway off if I do what they call a chin tuck. Some
Oh,
people, that's
wow.
not a problem. So for years, I've slept with a cervical pillow that has a
Mm-hmm.
curve
Mm-hmm.
below to help
Yes.
keep my neck slightly stretched. So I've
Right.
always known that, but it never occurred to me that that was a symptom that, hello, you might have sleep apnea if you need to do that to be able to breathe.
Wow.
Yes, there's obstructive central. That's the other third one, central apnea. That's when
Oh.
your brain is not working,
Oh, when it doesn't
giving.
tell you to breathe. Got it.
And so here's the problem. When you stop breathing or reduced breathing 5 to 30 times per hour.
Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Nothing is getting oxygen, obviously, which is not good
Yeah.
for your future of your brain,
Sure.
much less anything else. But then you can get the symptoms like headaches, and of course, fatigue,
Yeah.
what they call excessive daytime fatigue. And one of the things that I recommend to my clients and on my podcast and so on is, we'll get to this in a minute, but
Yeah.
you want to get a sleep doctor to prescribe a sleep test for you. You don't want it
Yep.
from your primary because they don't know anything. They can
Right.
prescribe the test.
They just give you a referral to a sleep doctor?
Yes, but I always like to do my own research. And
Okay.
this area, I didn't know I needed to do that. And
Mm.
just asked my PC for that. And I got a piece of paper and I said, where do I go? And she
Yeah.
said, go to a medical supply place, which was actually the wrong
Oh
answer.
my.
But if people would just do an internet search in their county or city, sleep doctors for apnea support, something like that. And it's a whole big profession, especially in our aging community, because all this collagen and so on is weaker as we age. Okay. And there's a whole community of doctors who specialize in, yes, we will do a sleep test either at home or in the lab. There's even a thing that wraps around a finger to do a sleep test. It's
Oh,
not a pulse
interesting.
oximeter, it's a whole thing.
Oh,
I had the typical kind of a little box that straps on your chest, and
okay.
it was not a big deal. You
And
get
did
it
you do
set
that
up.
at home or did you do
Yeah,
the in?
yeah, because you can do the one in the lab, and there are advantages to that, such as a friend of mine, we were having this discussion over lunch. She said, no, my husband said, you snore and you stop breathing, you're going to die. You need to go and get this looked at. And the sleep doctor she went to put her in the sleep lab. And she said it was wonderful because they can observe by audio, by visual, by cameras. They can come in and watch you struggle for breath or hear what's happening. She
Yeah.
said at one point they woke me up, put me into a CPAP mask and turned me on. And she said that was it. I was asleep.
Wow.
And then they can tinker with the settings, the pressure, and so on
Okay.
while you're there. So there are some advantages to that. And they're like a hotel room. It's not like some weird
And
thing.
people that have issues with falling asleep or staying asleep, does it work still if they're struggling to go to sleep in a sleep study setting
Yeah, yes,
versus home?
because part of what it's recording is what's
Ah,
happening. Because here's what's happening.
okay.
When your body senses, oh, they're not breathing,
Yeah.
what happens is the body sends a jolt of hormones and neurotransmitters to wake you up a tiny
Oh,
bit.
I see.
So you're not aware that you're waking up 125 times a night.
Yeah.
Okay, but you are. And so you never get good rest. You're constantly woo, woo,
Yeah.
woo, and you don't even know,
And that's the body's survival mechanism to wake you up like that.
to wake you up and get you to pull your tongue back up
Sure.
and or sit up or whatever you're going to do. But
Yeah.
it's completely silent. It's not like you jump in the bed or anything. It's completely hidden. And this is why sleep apnea is the largest undiagnosed disorder in the United States.
Really?
It's the largest undiagnosed disorder. There are tens of millions of people
Jeez.
with sleep apnea that have no clue or are somehow afraid of getting tested or wearing a mask. And
Yeah, the CPAP, I think, is a deterrent for some folks. Actually, my daughter had obstructive sleep apnea, I guess is the way.
that is sleep apnea. It's
Okay.
obstructive sleep apnea.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's just a general term. And she had, as some of my listeners may remember, she had a benign brain tumor 10 years ago, and hypothalamus obesity or hypothalamic obesity came from one of the treatments, which was a proton radiation series. And that did some damage. And so she gained about 50 pounds in a fairly short amount of time when she'd never struggled with weight before. And she started to have sleep apnea. And she did have a CPAP, but it didn't really work for her. And just recently was able to lose all that weight. And I think it also got rid of the sleep apnea symptoms. So I know that there are some folks that don't do well with CPAPs, that sometimes just the machinery is uncomfortable, or especially if they toss and turn, or it wakes them up or whatever. Do you have other
I have so
solutions for
much. Yes,
folks?
I do. I have so much to say.
Okay.
And so, yes, she should still run a sleep test.
Yes. Yes. She should, now that she's lost the weight, to see
Absolutely.
what's changed.
And see what's happening. But the technology now in CPAP equipment and masks and so on is light years away. I meant to bring in I'm on this amazing forum, so write this down. This is really
Okay.
important. I'm not
Okay.
a part of it. I'm just one of the people on there. Sleep HQ, like headquarters,
Oh,
sleephq.com,
okay.
because I got no help from the people that I was working with, but I am a tireless researcher. And
Yes, it
eventually
sounds like it.
I found it's, oh my goodness, who are these people? This is incredible. And you
Wow.
can download your data from a little SD card that goes in the side of your machine. And it
Wow.
and it lists just scads of data, like half second by half second if you want it.
Jeez.
And there's hundreds of threads and people on there talking about, hey, who's tried the new Bravita mask? Did you find the size of the headpiece was too small
Oh,
or
interesting.
whatever?
That's
So
great.
there's a tremendous resource there.
Yeah.
But the masks now can be really tiny. So the traditional one we think of with triangle over your
Now,
nose or nose and mouth. So there's
right.
one that's just a triangle over your nose.
Okay.
And then there's many that are triangle over your nose and mouth.
Right.
But the other thing now that's really happening and has been for a while, they call them pillows. So they're little tiny things that just, you've got the headgear holding it on, and
Yep.
it's a little tiny thing that just sits under
Wow.
your nose.
Huh.
So there's no big giant masks or straps or
Right.
crazy stuff. I was fortunate that the first mask I bought was one of those little tiny ones under the
Hmm.
nose.
So how does that alter what's going on in the mouth and throat and everything?
That's what the pressurized air, CPAP stands for,
Oh.
their PAPs, CPAPs, BPAPs, EPAPs.
Oh, so it's
They're
a
all
pressurized air system you're saying.
pressurized air system. Yes. So
Oh.
it ramps up. It starts with a nice, you can feel it as you're settling down in bed and getting your pillow
Yeah.
organized. And you can feel that there's a gentle air coming in. And then the machines are very smart. Now they set to ramp up. Either you can
Oh.
give it an hour if it takes you
Right.
that long to fall asleep, or you can
Right.
just give it 5 minutes or whatever you want.
Yep.
And then the machine ramps up to what you label as your maximum pressure. So we can control our machines now.
Oh, cool.
Whereas, like my doctors is like, oh, they all just set it 4 to 20 liters per minute or whatever. And the person I'm working with now on a completely different, a maskless system, which I can describe. He said, this thing's so efficient, you need to pull your pressures way down. He said, so like a 7 is a minimum and 9 is a max. He said, just stay
Oh,
right
wow.
there.
Okay.
And my stats are looking really good. It's, oh my gosh, that terrible daytime fatigue that I'd had for about a year,
Yeah, it's
the
gone.
headaches for 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another cool one.
Okay.
Nighttime urinations. So you asked about waking up.
Yep.
So I've gotten up to go to the restroom for as long as I can remember. And by the third or fourth night, getting air, which by the way, you said, how is it working? It's pressurizing the system down the airway. It
The
just pushes that air
root.
right on through and
Got
everything
it.
gets out of the way.
Yeah.
And you can't feel anything. It's completely simple. You have to sometimes wait. Have I even got it on? It's not a big deal.
Oh, that's amazing.
Much
So it really has
simpler.
changed over time.
Oh, it's really changed.
Yeah.
And if you sleep with somebody, they all have an exhale port where you're
Oh,
exhaling. So they have little holes where
okay.
the mask can exhale.
Yep.
And some of the masks will blow that all over your partner and make them crazy.
Oh
So
dear.
other masks are like, yeah, we're going to point that air up
Onward.
or we're going to point that
Yeah.
air down. It's a whole science thing now.
Wow.
And this is why you need somebody like the HQ Forum and your own research and people like me trying to help describe this stuff so it's not so intimidating.
Yeah.
The newest mask, which is now completely taking over the industry, it's so cool. A CPAP person himself set out, he said, I hate this. I can invent something better. Yay. And so they're little silicone tabs, little sticky tabs
Okay.
that have a little magnet appropriate ring.
Oh,
So
wow.
you stick on your little, you look in the mirror and you put the little ring and stick it down with the sticky, and then you do the
Yeah.
other nostril, line it up with your nostril, put down the little sticky. It's perfectly simple. And then
Wow.
the interface, so it's no longer a mask,
Yep.
is magnetic, and you literally just hold it up there and it clicks on. Oops,
Cool.
it just goes click, click,
Yeah.
and it's on there. So there's
Amazing.
nothing on your face at all except a hose that's hanging from your
Right.
nose.
Wow.
So anyway, let me check my notes.
Okay.
Oh, one of the other big things for me was pain in my shoulders and neck. And this had gone along with a decade of headaches. And I'd worked with many like fibromyalgia doctors and having injections in my upper traps and low dose naltrexone and herbs and everything.
Mm.
Oh, this pain is so bad, daytime
Mm.
and nighttime in the upper traps and the neck and the shoulders. And I would get up in the night because I'd have to pee, which stops when you start using your CPAP. You don't have to
Yeah.
get up to pee.
Yeah. And that's largely because you're not waking up, I'm guessing.
Wait, let me finish with the traps and
Okay.
then
Sorry.
remember that. Remember that.
Okay. I'll pin that.
I noticed very quickly that the pain here was subsiding.
Mm.
And that is also part of the whole inflammatory process
Mm.
and the fight or flight nature of your body sending these little tiny jolts to
Yes.
wake up and breathe. And it's like you're in fight or flight all night long. So it affects your sleep, but not in a way that is obvious to you. If you're snoring and then you wake up gagging and coughing for air, that
Sure.
should be obvious that
Right. Exactly.
you just had an apnea event, but unbeknownst to you, may also have another 100 tonight.
Wow.
Anyway, all this pain is 75% gone.
And so what was it that was causing the pain?
The whole I don't have any oxygen thing. It's
Oh,
affecting every cell of the body.
I see. And probably
Plus,
most directly that area because that's where all of this is taking place to begin with.
that's a theory. Nobody
Oh,
knows
nobody
that.
knows.
Seems to be my symptom,
I
but
see.
I don't know if it helps other people's pain.
Yeah.
But we know oxygen in general is good for anything,
Yeah.
basically, and lack of oxygen is bad for everything.
Right.
And yes, the reason why you generally don't have to get up and run to the restroom so many times or even once is that you're not being prompted for that fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight, which stimulates excretion and all of that.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
So
makes sense.
somewhere around the fifth day of using the mask and fiddling with my settings, I slept 9 hours, woke up once, didn't have to pee, didn't have any headache, didn't have any pain, went back to sleep. I was like, my gosh,
That's incredible.
this
And
is
what,
life
how
changing.
much, yeah, how many hours were you sleeping prior to that?
I was sleeping 7, 8, or even 9 hours,
Oh, okay,
but
but not
but
restfully.
apparently not resting whatsoever at all.
Got it. Oh, God. Wow. That's remarkable. And thank goodness there are so many more resources. And I love the idea of that sleephq.com. I'm definitely going to check that out myself and probably get some tape just to be on the safe side. Wow. Okay. So anything else about sleep apnea that you think we should know?
For many people, insurance covers all of this.
Oh,
Uh, if you don't have insurance, obviously it's not going to cover it.
even
Um,
Medicare?
oh, absolutely.
It
But
wouldn't cover the test for my husband, actually.
it will if it's ordered properly. That
Really? Because he got the referral from his primary care and they said,
they didn't order it right. So this is part
oh,
of what you have to do your research for.
okay.
If you look up top 6 symptoms of sleep apnea,
Okay.
and then you make an index card, and that's what you take into whichever doctor you're going.
Yep.
But again, if you're going to a
Oh,
sleep doctor, you don't have to know that. But so whether you're experiencing it or not, snoring, I wake up with a jolt, coughing, I have excessive daytime fatigue.
that was the problem.
Um,
He didn't hit more of those points on
that
the test
exactly.
as
You've
he
got
needed
to,
to.
and the doctors, they've got to hit the big 5 with their codes or whatever for
Right.
insurance to go, yeah, okay, good. So you must get it covered because otherwise you're going to pay cash for everything, which is fine
Yeah.
too. Looking at the hundreds and hundreds, thousands, I don't know, people on the Sleep HQ forum, most people like myself have just been trying and buying Let's try this mask. Let's try this size of this mask. Okay, let's
Yeah.
this style of this mask. Let's try that. We all have a box full of masks that we've used 1 to 5 times and thrown
Right.
across the room. But the machines themselves it's very basic. You buy an AirSense 10 and you're done. So you only need to get one machine. But insurance will cover that, and it will cover your supplies. What I don't know is, see, if I had insurance cover the first mask I bought, which in my case happened to be a good one, but I don't know how that game plays out. I'm sorry, patient, whatever, but this was a mask you bought, so that's the only one we'll pay for. I don't know. That's on my next list of projects to figure out, is now that I've honed it down to 2 masks for me, and they need to be replaced constantly, like every 3 to 6 months. So there's a continual expense that's going to be happening.
So I'm curious about that. If somebody doesn't hit the number of points on that test in order to get it paid for, what if once they've had the test done, it shows, yes, in fact, that person has sleep apnea, regardless of what that oral test, so to speak, as far as questions went? Does that change things as far as
if you have a diagnosis, your insurance will cover it.
Okay, so that's the key.
And there is mild, moderate, or severe. I don't know. By 2/100ths of a point, I slipped into the moderate category. I don't know if for some reason it doesn't cover if you're in the mild. I don't know. It's just a happy fluke that mine is horrifyingly 15.1 events per hour average, and mild is 14.99. So I just slipped into the moderate, and I don't know if mild means they'll cover everything or not. I don't know this.
Yeah.
I've only been at this 2 or 3 months, and I'm completely on my own.
Got it.
But one of the cool things about Sleep HQ is once you just join for free, and then after a month, they'll say, do you want to join pro? And then there's a little fee, but whatever, you can always stop if you're not going to be posting for help or hiring them for help. But one of the categories they have is mask analytics, and you can go there and it'll rank 50 masks under 4 different categories, the 1 through 50 of what is best for the leak, what is best for handling your apnea events, what is best for userability, which I assume means comfort or something. You don't need to flounder around like I did. You can pretty much just go right in and say, let me have the top 3 masks.
Yeah.
And then you still have to figure out the size and whatever. But anyway.
Wow. Okay. So much good information. Boy, I've learned stuff that I didn't know about, and I haven't done a deep dive into this topic like you have, but thank you for doing that and being able to share it with us. So I see we have about 5 minutes left. Is there anything that I did not ask you that you really want to make sure that people hear?
This is another huge topic, but very briefly, the sleep in general, the difference between falling asleep and waking up. I have an online store, but what the supplement that my clients are on, or anybody buys from me, you can find is pharma, like pharmaceutical, GABA.
Oh, I've heard about GABA. Okay. I actually think I have a gummy that has GABA in it that's supposed to help with sleep.
The problem is that there's 2 kinds of GABA. The correct one is the pharmaceutical grade GABA is a fermented amino acid or fermented neurotransmitter precursor. So you can't just go to Walgreens and buy GABA. It's the wrong kind. So these are chewable, so that then they just go straight to your brain, and you can dose it, start with half and then go to 1. And then if you want 1.5 or go to 2.
And is it just GABA, nothing else with it?
The one that I use, the pharma GABA, it's just the pharmaceutical fermented GABA with the chewable sugars and things to get it to
make
absorb.
it palatable. Oh, and absorption too.
So that will help put you to sleep. But people want to remember that the color blue keeps us awake. We've all heard that. Don't look at your screens and computers
at night.
And so I put my blue blocker glasses on after dinner. My house, I have a 4-bedroom house, which is lit by 2 low wattage lamps at night.
Oh, wow.
So you have to let darkness become part of your evening.
Hygiene, right?
that's how we make melatonin, is in
Right.
response to darkness.
Right.
So your bedroom's dark, your house is dark,
Yeah.
and if you're in the kitchen with fluorescence or something,
And LEDs are like fluorescents too.
yes, LEDs are
Yeah.
very bright. If you look out the window in the daytime, what do you see? Blue sky.
Right.
So to humans on planet Earth, blue means it's daytime, wake
Yes.
up. It
Yes.
means something different to a possum.
Right.
They see, oh, it's blue, go to sleep.
Go back into the tunnel. So one thing I want to just point out that I've talked to other people about on this podcast is the value of going outside within the
Yeah.
first 90 minutes of sunrise. And just even, I think, 5 minutes of that kind of light does something to trigger the melatonin production as well as the circadian rhythms. Is that something that you've heard
Well,
about
it
too?
shuts off melatonin if for
Correct.
some weird reason you're still making it, but
It shuts it off at that time, but it does something to reset the circadian rhythms, doesn't
it
it?
can help reset your cycles.
Yeah.
But melatonin we only crank out really in the evening and the first while of sleeping. And what melatonin does is basically shut down adrenaline, which is
Oh,
stimulated by the blue light. It
okay.
gets very chemical.
And
And
isn't
then,
there something about adrenaline at 4 in the morning or some early hour that sort of starts waking the body up?
and that's part of that for many people, the sleep apnea thing that's been waking you up 50 to 100 times and the body is exhausted. But it's very common for people to wake up around 3 or 4.
Yeah.
That's almost a near universal human thing. Although now I find out with my CPAP situation, I don't wake up so much. I recommend people use passion flower in the middle of the night.
Oh,
It's significant in GABA as
okay.
well as some other things. Herbs have thousands of ingredients, if you will.
Yes.
So what we use in the clinic, what we have online, it's a glycerin-based passion flower tincture.
Okay.
So you can just take a couple squirts, 2, 3, 4 squirts, if you wake up at night and you're probably not going to get back to sleep for 30 minutes or something, and it'll just mellow you right out.
Wow.
Passion flower is awesome. And some people,
Cool.
that's all they take at bedtime. It works fine to settle them down. But between pharma-GABA and the passion flower tincture, so you don't have to get up and have water with it. That's why the glycerin
Ah,
is so useful. It's sweet and tasty. So
yeah,
I have
yeah.
clients that just keep it under the pillow. So they don't even
Wow.
have to get up, just take some pharma-GABA.
Very cool. And so your website again?
It's on diet and health.
Dietandhealth.com. Great. And you
And
said before we got on, you mentioned that you have a bunch of free resources on there as well.
I do. They're like Easter eggs. They're scattered around the website. But
Yeah.
if you open any article on the website, maybe the one on sleep apnea or one on testing your thyroid or whatever, at the
Yeah.
bottom of every article, there is a place to subscribe to the newsletter and get my free ebook on how to cook without recipes. I am an
Oh, yeah.
anti-recipe person
Because
because you can make a lot of food really fast without having to think and worry about it, and
ah,
then put it in the fridge and it's
okay.
done. And
Okay.
I do that once a week and I've got food for the week and I eat a lot. So
Nice.
I eat enough for 2 people. And
You sure
so
don't look like it.
I know I have a high metabolism,
That's
but
great. Lucky for
um,
you.
the point is you've got 2, 3, 4 bags of raw food. Now you've got 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 containers of cooked food, period. There's no spices, no herbs, no sauteing. It's just not raw anymore.
Right.
Yeah, if I'm going to cook a lamb roast or something, I might put some rosemary on it or something. But the whole point is don't get distracted with that. You just want it not raw anymore.
Okay.
And then when it's time for a meal, you open your fridge door and pull out, oh, I think I'll take the grilled salmon and the steamed asparagus and
Right.
the baked Brussels sprouts tossed with olive oil, and you're good. So your breakfast prep took 3 minutes.
And you can certainly add your spices and
Right,
flavorings at that point too, if you like, which I do.
right.
I love to use herbs and spices in my cooking. Nothing too spicy, but
Yeah.
nice.
You might
Okay.
want to heat it in some garlic oil or whatever it
Yes.
is that you
Yes.
want.
Yeah.
But the food is already, cooked, it's cleaned,
Right.
it's in the refrigerator, it's
Exactly.
done.
Easy access. So you don't have to stress about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's a free ebook that you'll find at the bottom of any
Very cool.
article on the website.
Okay. Great. Beverly, thank you so much. This has been really fascinating.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to share it. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this. So,
I love it. And I'm particularly impressed with your research skills because I too have been a research fanatic since I started learning about healthy food and toxins and household products and holistic health. My first job at 16 was working at a health food store in New York City. So I got started pretty young, but I love that you are doing all that research and solving things for yourself and
yes,
others.
I think it's given my life a lot of meaning to be able to help
Fantastic.
people.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
If this episode resonated with you, let it be an invitation to listen differently, not just to experts or explanations, but to your own body, your daily rhythms, and the quiet signals that shape your choices around food, health, and how you live. As we move into a new year, it feels like a moment to trust that inner knowing a little more. It's also a 1 year in numerology, new beginnings, and to stand with greater clarity and conviction in what you know to be true for you. You'll find links and resources from today's episode in the show notes if you'd like to explore further. I'm Amy Hartshorn, host of the Green Living Now podcast. Thanks for listening, and I hope you'll join me next week for another thoughtful conversation.